Welcome to The Take, hosted by the Cowboy.
Hello everyone, this is the Cowboy and you are listening to The Take. Thank you so much for joining me. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsCowboy or follow the show on Twitter at The Take Pod. What I'm going to discuss today is something you've probably heard a lot about the last 24 hours, and that's Baltimore, that's the rioting, that's the looting. Now my focus won't be on specifically Baltimore or specifically the circumstances leading up to the rioting and the looting and the protests, but I'm guessing there's a handbook out there for the rioters and the looters, so this is what I would think it would say. So let's take a look at the Rioters Handbook. Number 1 on the list, be angry. It doesn't matter what you're angry at. It doesn't matter who you're angry at, or the reason you're angry, or what day you're angry on. It doesn't matter. Just be angry. First on the list in the Rioters Handbook. Like I said, it doesn't matter what you're angry at. It doesn't matter what you're angry about. Just be angry. You probably don't even know what the protests are for. Probably don't even know what you're rioting about. Doesn't matter. Just be angry. Once again, the Rioters Handbook. Number 2 on the list is don't riot in your own hometown. And this is a good one. This makes perfect sense. If you're going to have a Rioters Handbook, it only makes sense that you would have this in your list. Now, you're not going to wake up and say, you know what? I'm mad. I'm angry. Remember, number 1 on the list, or the first thing on the list, be angry. I am angry, and I'm ready to destroy some, you know what. There's a convenience store down the road that I go to a lot, but I'm tired of it. I'm going to go steal some cigarettes, steal some beer, I'm going to burn it down. You never hear that. That never happens. When you see riots like what happened in Baltimore, what happened in Ferguson, a majority of the time, the damage is done by someone that lives outside that neighborhood, maybe even comes in from another state because they hear something cool is going on, a protest is going on, so they want to get involved. And I guarantee you, 95% to 99% of the people that partake in these riots, and the looting especially, they're not from that area. They're not from that town, from that city. Maybe they're close, but they're not going to come in and destroy their own neighborhood. That wouldn't make any sense. Now, I could be wrong. I'm sure there are some people out there that would get off by doing that. They don't care if it's their own neighborhood. They don't care if it's their own house. If they can destroy something, they'll do it, and they'll love it. But you see a lot of people that come in, not from that particular neighborhood, and they're the ones doing a lot of the destruction of property. So, second on the list for the Rioters Handbook, don't riot in your own neighborhood. Third on the list, and all of these are pretty important, but if you don't have this down, you can't be considered a rioter. I mean, you can't get that certificate. I don't know what the certificate would say, but you can't get it if you can't do this. Number 3, throw stuff and burn stuff. Key elements to being a professional rioter. You can't throw like a girl. You got to be able to throw, whether it's like we've seen today in Baltimore, you got to be able to throw bricks or rocks. Any item that might be laying in the street, you got to be able to throw it. Any item you get from a store. And sometimes you have to go lefty, so it would be beneficial to you if you had some pretty good strength in your left hand. And burning stuff. That's been part of riots since I can remember, going back to L.A., the L.A. riots with Rodney King. So 2 essential items. You have to be able to throw something, and you have to be able to burn something. So in the Rioters Handbook, make sure you bring a lighter, make sure you bring some matches, and make sure you bring that laser rocket arm of yours. Number 4 on the list. Now, while you're doing all this stuff, you're going to work up a sweat. You might get some paper cuts or some splinters. So you're going to need some Band-Aids. You can break into the CVS and get you some Band-Aids, maybe an aspirin or 2. And while you're in town, why not stop by the ATM or the check cashing spot that's already been looted and grab yourself a few 20s. You're not going to be greedy. Act like you've been there before. So just grab you, about $80. So you got to make sure you've got your Band-Aids to take care of that paper cut or the splinter because, you're picking up stuff. You're picking up burnt pieces of wood and throwing them at the police. Got to make sure you got some getaway money or at least money for the next day, $80, $100. And most importantly, with any professional athlete, and I'm not saying rioters are professional athletes, but I would call them semi-pro, you must stay hydrated. So while you're out there throwing bottles and bricks at the police, you're burning stuff, it's very humid, it's very hot, you're working up a sweat, you must stay hydrated. So stop off by a liquor store. There's one nearby. The doors are already open. Someone has already done the work for you. The door's smashed. Go in, grab some Alizé, grab a beverage of your choice, and stay hydrated. Very key. Very, very key in the Rioters Handbook. And most importantly, number 5 on the list, hey, let's loot. Oh, wait, we've already been doing that. So just to go over key elements in the Rioter's Handbook: be angry. Doesn't matter what it's about, who it's about, where it's at, who it's at. Just be angry. Number 2, don't riot in your own hometown because you want to keep your streets clean. You want to destroy your own neighborhood. Number 3, must be able to burn stuff and throw stuff. Number 4, make sure you have Band-Aids. Make sure you have plenty of cash and stay hydrated. And in other words, loot a CVS, loot a check cashing spot, and loot a liquor store. If you do those, you're good. You don't have to worry about anything. And lastly, just loot, baby. Now, obviously, all of that was in sarcasm. Talking about the Baltimore situation, I do think the mayor of Baltimore, she's taking a lot of heat tonight. And rightly so in some cases. Curfew should have been for tonight. But who knows? I'm not in her shoes. And that is a chaotic situation. I'm not sure how I would have responded if I was the mayor. But I do respect the Nation of Islam. And maybe you saw it on CNN, the Vietnam veteran who was telling the young punks, the young thugs to get away, to go home. You had some fraternities out there trying to get people to stay peaceful and have them get off the streets. And everyone that was trying to help, I thank you because we don't have enough of that. So there were people out there trying to make a difference, trying to keep things calm. But you're always going to have those thugs out there, those people who no matter what you do, no matter what you tell them, they're going to do what they want to do. They're going to follow that Rioter's Handbook I just read. It's sad because we can't keep going down this road and just using riots and burning stuff and destroying property. We just can't keep doing that and expecting a different outcome. It's never going to happen. Will things change? Probably not. There'll be another situation like this, another Trayvon, another Baltimore, where the same thing will happen. We'll be asking the same questions. We'll have the same answers with no solutions. Until we stop blaming each other, until we stop blaming the police department, until we stop blaming, whoever it may be, and start coming up with solutions instead of pointing fingers. We can point fingers all day long, but until we say, you're part of the problem, but here's how we can work on it. Here's what I can do to work on it. Here's what you can do to work on it. Let's talk. Until that happens, we're just stuck in the cycle. It's going to be the same thing over and over again, just a different city. I hope we can come to a resolution, not only in Baltimore, but like I said, I don't see it happening, but I can only pray. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Take, the Rioter's Handbook, just a little sarcastic way of describing how things go down in a riot. Thank you for listening. This is The Take. Follow me on Twitter at SportsCowboy or follow the show at The Take Pod, at The Take POD. Keep tuned in for more episodes. I'll be back soon. I'll talk to you later.
This has been The Take. Follow Cowboy on Twitter at SportsCowboy. And stay tuned for more episodes.